Hey, welcome back. Jerry Durham here. I want to share with you a quote I came up with, and I'm taking full credit for this because I haven't seen it anywhere else. So I'm taking full credit for it. Put your thinking cap on, and I'm going to pause at the end of it because I really want you to process this. In your business, every visit is valuable, yet not all the visits have the same value, right? So when you're putting someone on the schedule, when you've scheduled out someone's visits, right? All of those visits are valuable, yet not all of them have the same value. The impact, and I'll explain what I'm talking about. The impact of all this really showed up when I started breaking down the numbers and using what I call my cost calculator of looking at, drop-offs, cancels, and no-shows and its impact on people's business, right? On their healthcare business, on their physio business. When I started breaking down cancels, no-shows, drop-offs, right? There's value to those visits. There's money, right? If someone says we typically average 8 visits and this person showed up for 3, right? Potentially that's 5 lost visits. And each of those are, right, a multiple of whatever you would have got for those visits, right? Plain and simple, right? So I started, I set up some equations, set up some Excel sheets to give me a number pretty quickly based on drop-offs, no-shows, cancels. Started there. Then I started looking at, well, I've always looked at conversion rate, yet I didn't have conversion rate conversion rate. Someone calls your business, says, I want to schedule physical therapy, whether you get them scheduled or not, and then whether they arrive or not is lead conversion. So taking that lead and turning them into an arrived client, customer, patient is lead conversion, right? So someone calls, says, hi, I want to get scheduled, right? Do we get them scheduled? And once we get them scheduled, do they arrive? Lead conversion. So I wasn't putting lead conversion in the original equation. And when I did, and I started to think about the value of the first phone call to getting someone onto the schedule who was prepared to arrive, pay, and stay, it started to hit me that your first visit, your evaluation is actually the most valuable visit that person will attend. And you're probably already thinking a couple of reasons why. Some of you are probably thinking, no, it's just another visit. And you know where else this came? When I asked people how much their first visit was worth, and they would tell me how much they were charging. Think about this for a second. And I'm going to make numbers up. I charge $100 for my first visit. So a new patient is worth $100 to me. And I said, that's absolutely crazy. There's no way. If the first phone call was managed properly and this person is moving through their journey with you in the business, they arrive ready to pay and then stay. That means you've set the provider up for success. And so the provider is going to have a conversation around a plan of care, whether it's 2 visits, whether it's 12 visits, whether it's 50 visits. And so to say the first visit is only worth $100 is completely, right, blinders on, narrow, transactional thinking. And if you've listened to some of my other stuff in the past, the ecosystem of your business, everything that happens upstream impacts the next step. So setting the provider up for success, right? Well, where's that happen? That happens during the pre-arrival process on the first phone call. So if we understand, and you're wondering why this topic is under the first phone call, if we understand that every visit is valuable, not all have the same value, then you should say which ones are most valuable. And I say the first one, because that person arriving and exchanging their money for your time, energy, expertise, everything else is a value equation. And then how much do they value that to choose to further their relationship, their plan with you? And I'm going to tell you the likelihood of that happening increases by how you manage the pre-arrival process in the first phone call. The better you manage the first phone call, the increased likelihood of an agreed upon plan of care, right? The better you manage the first phone call, the increased likelihood of the patient arriving altogether, right? a cancel or a no-show on the first visit. A no-show on the first visit is insanely unacceptable to me. That should be 0%. It is the only metric that I tell people should be an absolute number, right? When I go work with clients, we look at what conversion rate, what's your benchmark, right? What's your arrival rate, your cancel rate, stuff like that. I look for the benchmark. No-shows for first visit should be 0. It is way too valuable to be anything more than that. And so I know your head's spinning now. Now, let me jump ahead real quick and tell you, probably if someone does no show, they shouldn't have been on the schedule anyway. So a better pre-arrival, a better first phone call will keep those people off the schedule who aren't committed to arriving, paying, and staying. So, right, again, go upstream. Let your front desk train them properly, empower them, right? Coach them on how to manage this first phone call, right? And this pre-arrival process, and follow a process so that when someone isn't scheduled, you're not pissed off and saying, why didn't you get everybody scheduled? So this first phone call is hugely important to what? Delivering the most valuable visit you have in your business, which is that first visit, the evaluation, the assessment, whatever it is, because they have prepared this person to arrive, pay, and then stay. And then the provider steps in and delivers on their expertise, and the plan of care is agreed to, whether it's 1 or 30 or 500, whatever it is. Cool. Most valuable visit, my friends, and it's tie into that first phone call. Cheers.